everyone, Granthony Screen Tano here, the internet's busiest music nerd! And it's time for a review of this new Shame album, Drunk Tank Pink. This is the sophomore LP from UK indie rock and post-punk outfit Shame, which comes 2 years after the release of their breakout record in 2018, Songs of Praise. A record that certainly checked all of the right post-punk boxes: visceral but danceable drums and bass, angular and textured guitars, very amped, shouty lead vocals, and appreciation for atmosphere too. Plus, if you're looking at post-punk in its entirety as a musical movement, this band's approach has a distinctly English demeanor. So yeah, the band certainly had all of these selling points going for them on their debut. The issue was that the more I listened to this record, the less I feel like I knew who Shame was as a band. I mean, their approach to this sound and style isn't exactly unique or anything, and on top of that, I found a lot of the performances on this project to be sort of mild. But thankfully, this new crop of tracks on Drunk Tank Pink sounds like the band's really playing like their lives depend on it. From the rowdy lead vocals and pointed rhythm guitars hitting the upbeat on Alphabet, to the cerebral and experimental station wagon at the finish, where the band indulges in these tense spoken word passages that eventually build up into this tornado of noisy drums and guitars for a finale. So there's definitely an energy, a velocity, and electricity to Drunk Tank Pink that I think its predecessor lacked, but somehow Shame doesn't feel any closer to a really distinct sound, despite varying up the gamut of bands they very obviously pull from. But I will say, as derivative as some of these tracks are, the band does have really good taste. Cuts like Nigel Hitter bring a strong and bold Gang of Four vibe with its raw guitars and bass, danceable drums, and eccentric lead vocals. Meanwhile, March Day's bright rhythm guitars, tight drums, and big gang vocals feel like what you would get if you grabbed random members of Franz Ferdinand and also Parquet Courts and made them go on a blind date. It's simultaneously slick and raw and packed with these refrains I can't get out of my head. I can't get up, I won't get up. Some parts of the track sound absolutely demented, especially in the second half, where the mix is being swarmed by all of these wailing guitars like killer bees. The speedy drums and tremolo-picked guitars on Born in Luton feel like a bit of a departure on the record, as it's not quite as tight performance-wise as many other cuts here are. It feels like I'm listening to, I don't know, Fugazi if they were slightly out of practice. Even the sad, slow, despondent guitar passages that pop in between the verses feel like a play right out of their playbook. The nods continue on the track Human for a minute, which instrumentally feels like I'm listening to some very Chairs missing 154 era Wire, something from the more subdued side of their early catalog. Between the smooth bass and slightly unnerving guitars and dreamy mix, the band's representation of the sound is faithful and tasteful. But honestly, I can't really say they do anything to put their own twist on it truly, which is slightly disappointing here and on other tracks too, considering the obvious amount of effort that seems to have gone into all of it. Especially when you consider the lyrics here and on other tracks too are pretty good. This "I never felt human before, I never felt human before you" approach to the refrains here, sort of teasing out with more words to give more context, more story, is a pretty interesting approach. Plus, there's a legitimately beautiful guitar solo in the second leg of this track too. Then the track Great Dog, oddly enough, sounds directly like one of this band's English contemporaries, the group Idols, one of their more fast, fierce, and aggressive cuts. Even the super short, blunt lyricism, as well as the contrarian imagery happening within that lyricism, seems like, again, something they would do. And as a result, I can't really think of too much to praise about it outside of the drums and guitars hitting impeccably hard, production-wise. Then the track 6-1 features all of these sour, bright, tangy guitar leads that feel like they are coming straight out of a women record like Public Strain, but with more of a throttling fast post-punk rhythm section hanging underneath. My favorite moment on the entire track track is probably the seamless snare transition into the cut harsh degrees, which features these punishing, spiraling riffs in 3/4. And while it really is a visceral and harrowing song and performance, the more maxed out and chaotic it gets, the more it feels like a song from the self-titled Daughters record from 2010. Now, before I close out this review, I should say there was one more moment I truly found to be impressive in the track list here, and that is the song Snow Day. We have more panic-inducing guitars on this one, which are set at a brisk pace, some driving drums underneath. These elements set a baseline for some of the most tense spoken word passages on the record, which build up occasionally to these incredible manic freakouts. The track also features a really ambitious multi-phased structure too. It's easily one of the more progressive songs on this record on that front, and as a result the entire track is just quite a ride. So yeah, overall, while I can commend the fact that the band is really playing with their hearts on their sleeves on this one, I just love the passion of this record. I can see why so many people have been drawn to a project like this so early in the year, but it's a shame that so many of the core ideas and elements of these songs are so common within the post-punk sphere and have also been delivered better by other groups, both old school and new school. I don't think it's quite there, honestly, but I do come away from this record with hope for the future. I'm feeling a decent 2 strong 6 on this one. Transition, have you given this album a listen? Did you love it? Did you hate it? What would you rate it? You're the best, you're the best. What should I review next? Hit the like if you like, please subscribe, and please don't cry. Hit the bell as well. Over here next to my head, it's another video that you can check out. Hit that up or the link to subscribe to the channel. Anthony Fantano, shame forever.